they said it was impossible. No Caitlin Clark, no Sophie Cunningham. Half the roster banged up. The critics buried them before the ball was even tipped. But when the lights burned brightest and the season was on the line, the Indiana Fever refused to die. In Atlanta, against all odds, this team didn't just win a game. They sent shockwaves through the entire WNBA. This wasn't luck. This was grit. This was heart. And tonight, the Fever proved that momentum is the most dangerous weapon in basketball. The Indiana Fever walked into Atlanta with every reason to lose. On paper, they were the underdogs. Analysts wrote them off. Fans doubted they'd even keep it close. After all, they were without their superstar Caitlin Clark, their enforcer Sophie Cunningham, and several key players who were nursing injuries. Meanwhile, Atlanta was at full strength, at home, with everything in their favor. But basketball isn't played on paper. It's played with heart. And from the opening tip, the Fever showed they weren't there to just survive. They were there to shock the world. Possession after possession, they matched Atlanta's energy, silencing the home crowd and proving that this wasn't the fragile Indiana team people remembered from earlier in the season. The game was a battle from start to finish, with both sides trading buckets, defensive stops, and momentum swings. But when the final buzzer sounded, the scoreboard told the story. Indiana Fever, 87. Atlanta Dream, 85. This wasn't just another win. It was the only upset of the WNBA playoffs so far, the kind of victory that flips the narrative completely. Suddenly, the team everyone counted out became the team no one wants to face. Every great upset has a hero, and for Indiana, her name was Lexie Hull. If you glance at the box score, you might see just 10 points, a couple of rebounds, a couple of steals. But those numbers don't capture the fire she brought when it mattered most. With the game hanging in the balance, Hull delivered the play of the night. A fearless spin move that led to the go-ahead bucket, followed by a lockdown defensive stop that ripped the soul out of Atlanta's comeback hopes. She didn't just score, she stole their confidence. But it wasn't just the clutch basket. Lexie's defense on Ryan Howard was suffocating. She fought through screens, contested every shot, and when the moment demanded it, she came up with a game-sealing steal that defined what playoff basketball is all about. Grit, hustle, and refusing to back down. The Fever didn't need a superstar to carry them. They needed a warrior willing to do the dirty work, and Lexie Hull answered the call. Her fingerprints were all over the most important possessions of the night, and without her, there is no upset. When the Fever needed a backbone, Aaliyah Boston stepped up and reminded everyone why she's one of the most dominant young stars in the league. For much of the night, she played patient, waiting for her moment. But when the fourth quarter arrived, Boston flipped the switch, and Atlanta had no answers. Her final stat line was nothing short of elite. 14 points, 12 rebounds, 6 assists, and 0 turnovers. 0. In a playoff atmosphere, against a hungry opponent, Boston delivered a flawless performance. She crashed the boards, protected the paint, and dished out passes like a point guard. Every possession she touched seemed to tilt the game in Indiana's favor. And it wasn't just about numbers. Boston showed toughness. Atlanta tried to bully her, pushing her around physically the way teams have all season. But this time, she pushed right back. She played angry, she played smart, and she played like the heartbeat of a team that refuses to be broken. Every great playoff run has an anchor, someone who steadies the ship when the seas get rough. For the Indiana Fever, that anchor is Aaliyah Boston. And if she keeps bringing this level of intensity, there's not a front court in the league that can stop her. Before the Fever could even think about closing out Atlanta, they needed guards who could keep them in the fight. And that's exactly what Kelsey Mitchell and Odyssey Sims delivered. From the opening tip, Mitchell set the tone. She was aggressive, confident, and relentless in attacking the basket. Her scoring kept Indiana afloat during stretches where nothing else was falling. Whenever the offense stalled, Mitchell found a way to create, either with her silky jumper or fearless drives to the rim. She was the engine. Then came Odyssey Sims. For 3 quarters, she played steady. But when crunch time arrived, she turned into a closer. Sims poured in 16 points, including clutch buckets in the fourth that stopped Atlanta's runs cold. Every time the Dream looked like they might pull away, Odyssey answered. That's veteran poise. That's championship DNA. Together, Mitchell and Sims formed the lifeline of this Fever team. When the pressure was at its peak, their backcourt brilliance kept Indiana standing tall. They didn't just score points. They gave their teammates belief. And in the playoffs, belief is everything. What makes this upset so special isn't just the stars. It's the way every single Fever player left their mark on this game. Take Natasha Howard. She put up 12 points, 6 rebounds, and 3 assists. But her biggest impact was physicality. She battled Naz Hillman on the boards, fought for every inch of space, and set the tone with toughness that rubbed off on her teammates. Then there's Michaela Timpson. Her name won't light up the box score, but in just 3.5 minutes on the floor, she grabbed 5 rebounds. That's pure hustle. That's the kind of energy that shifts momentum in a playoff game. Brianna Turner deserves flowers too. Coach Stephanie White turned to her late, and she made life miserable for Atlanta's guards with switch-heavy defense and rim contests. It was a gutsy adjustment, and Turner executed it perfectly. Even off the bench, players like Aerial Powers brought energy and intensity, reminding everyone this is a roster built on grit, not just highlight plays. This was a collective victory. Every loose ball, every rebound, every defensive stop, it all added up. And in a game decided by just 2 points, those little efforts by the unsung heroes were the difference between heartbreak and history. When the pressure mounted, 2 teams showed their true colors. Atlanta had the talent, the home crowd, and the edge on paper. But when it came time to rise to the moment, they folded like a cheap chair. Jordan Canada was brilliant. 18 points, 10 assists, slicing through the defense with scoop layups that left fans gasping. Alicia Gray fought like a warrior, posting 19 points and 12 rebounds. But their brilliance was wasted because the Dream as a unit couldn't hold together. They got tight. They got nervous. They cracked under the spotlight. And then there was Indiana. Battered, written off, missing their brightest star, Caitlin Clark. Without their firebrand, Sophie Cunningham. Half the roster taped up like warriors headed into battle. Yet when the lights burned brightest, they didn't break. They rose. That's the difference between a team that plays with hope and a team that plays with belief. Atlanta was hoping to survive. Indiana believed they would win, and belief is heavier than talent. Belief tips the scale when everything else is equal. In those final possessions, you could see it in the Dream's body language. Hesitation, doubt, fear. Meanwhile, the Fever played like they had nothing to lose. That's why the upset happened. That's why Indiana is still standing. In playoff basketball, coaching decisions can make or break a season. And on this night, Stephanie White proved why she belongs on the sidelines of a team built for battle. There were moments that made fans nervous, like giving heavy fourth-quarter minutes to Shaw Petty, but when it counted, White pulled the right levers. Her boldest move? Turning to Brianna Turner late, going all in on defense. Turner's length and mobility disrupted Atlanta's guards, clogging passing lanes and forcing rush shots. It was a gamble, and it paid off. But beyond X's and O's, White's fingerprints were all over this upset in ways that don't show up on a stat sheet. She kept her players calm, instilled belief when the outside world had written them off, and leaned into the identity of resilience this team has forged through adversity. And then there's the leadership on the floor. Sydney Colson's voice kept the locker room connected. Aerial Powers' energy brought life off the bench. Even those sidelined, like Caitlin Clark and Sophie Cunningham, became spiritual anchors. This wasn't one person carrying the load. It was leadership by committee. Great teams aren't just built on talent. They're built on trust. And in this game, from Stephanie White down to the last player off the bench, trust was the secret weapon that carried Indiana through the fire. Every playoff has a turning point, and for the Indiana Fever, this upset may be it. Momentum is now fully on their side. They've battled injuries, silenced doubters, and proven that no amount of adversity can kill their spirit. And here's where it gets scary for the rest of the WNBA. Rumor has it Caitlin Clark might return. Think about that. This team, already firing on belief and grit, could soon welcome back the most electrifying player in women's basketball, the one who completely reshaped the league as a rookie, the one defenses still lose sleep over. If Caitlin Clark laces up again in these playoffs, the Fever don't just become a tough out. They become the team to beat. And it's not just Clark. Sophie Cunningham's absence has already lit a fire under this squad, and her eventual return would add even more toughness to a roster that thrives on defiance. Combine that with Boston's dominance, Hull's hustle, Mitchell and Sims' backcourt brilliance, and suddenly this underdog team doesn't look like an underdog at all. Momentum is the great equalizer in sports. You can scout talent, you can plan for matchups, but you can't prepare for a team that believes destiny is on its side. And right now, that's exactly who the Indiana Fever are. If Caitlin Clark comes back, the rest of the league better start praying. The final buzzer hadn't even finished echoing before the Fever celebration began, not just on the court, but across social media. Aaliyah Boston praised her faith, declaring, "God is great all the time. Go Fever girls." Aerial Powers kept it short and loud. Talk to us nice. Sydney Colson reminded the world with her swagger, "Semifinals us." And Brianna Turner put it best. "We didn't come this far to only come this far." This wasn't about stats or headlines. It was about unity. Injuries, doubters, critics, it It didn't matter. The Fever are playing for each other, for Caitlin Clark, for Sophie Cunningham, and for every single fan who believed when the rest of the league laughed. They are more than a basketball team. They are a family that refuses to break. So, here we are. The Indiana Fever, once left for dead, now stand just steps away from the WNBA Finals. They have no fear, no excuses, and nothing to lose. And that makes them the most dangerous team in the league. This wasn't just a win, it was a statement. A declaration that momentum, grit, and belief can topple any favorite on any night. And if the rumors are true, if Caitlin Clark returns to this roster, then let's be clear, the championship might already be spoken for. So, to every team left in these playoffs, I'll say it loud. The Indiana Fever are coming. They're coming with heart, they're coming with fire, and they're coming to win it all. Now it's your turn. Do you believe in this team? Do you believe the Fever can finish this run and lift the trophy? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Smash that like button if you're riding with Indiana, and subscribe so you don't miss what happens next. Because history is unfolding, and the Fever are writing it one upset at a time.